So the person working at Sweet Baby Inc. that caused all this controversy to begin has now got his account suspended. And this is what most of the gaming publications and The Guardian and all of the journalists aren't covering. Because you can't cover this since it's indefensible. Like you cannot run damage control if people are aware of this. Is that this particular individual tried to cancel a small Steam account. That's how it all started, right? You have this small Steam account that's basically saying, hey, this consultancy group that's being hired by AAA game developers, yeah, I don't like it. And if you don't like it, these are the games that they worked on, so you should know when making a purchase, right? Like be aware that this is going on. That was it. That was the only thing, right? So this individual goes around and basically asks for people to flag that account. And that's what caused the controversy. Like, everyone knows that video games now are woke, that they all have the same messages, that they all talk about the same themes, that they all play the same, that they all have, like, body type A, body type B in them, that they all have pronouns, that they all have skin diseases like vitiligo and the character creator, that they all have penis sliders but no breast sliders. Like everyone knows about this that plays video games. Like, we're aware. We know that consultancy groups are involved, which is why, like, all these companies that are competing with each other are making a very similar product. So we know this, but what most people didn't know is how vile these individuals are and how fragile they are. Like, that was the thing. It's the fragility that was surprising people. It's like, okay, so you have, like, this small Steam group, and you're calling them a white supremacist despite the fact that the man is Brazilian. And on top of that, he doesn't do anything wrong, and you're trying to shut him down. So this is what caused the outrage, and this is what the press refuses to talk about because they're terrified about talking about it because they can't defend it. So anyway, yesterday, as you guys know, Akira Toriyama has passed. The man was incredibly influential to the point where the Chinese foreign minister, I just want you to understand this, right? Like, the Chinese foreign minister is issuing her condolences on behalf of the people of communist China for Akira's family. Like that's how influential this man was. He was beloved by everyone. He was beloved by the left. He was beloved by the right. The cartels in Mexico probably watched Dragon Ball as well. Very popular amongst African Americans. Like, if I was to stereotype African Americans, and you're forcing me, like, say something stereotypical, I'd be like, they like Dragon Ball. And you know what? I'm willing to bet most would agree. It is such a pillar of modern entertainment. And a lot of people were like, well, V, you know, because yesterday there were a lot of leftists as well that were disparaging Akira. It's like, well, V, don't you believe in free speech? And I'm like, I'm not saying they should be banned. I'm not saying that they should be taken down for what they're saying. But I wouldn't want them as my neighbor. Like if this is how you're thinking, when you have, like, a person that you could compare it with Walt Disney of our time, passing away, and literally the first thing that you do is to attack him? Yeah, I don't want you as my neighbor. I don't want any associate. I don't think you're a nice person to be around. Okay, can I think that? Can I say that? Because I have free speech too, right? So that is my point. But, This person just couldn't help themselves. Again, like all of these grifters, these cultural critics, they can't help themselves. They just got, like, one of the best ways to get canceled off the internet, and I'm not justifying it, I'm just explaining it. Like, this is the way, like, if you want to lose internet access, this is how you do it. You manage to get the left and the right pissed off at you. It's very difficult to accomplish. It's hard. Because, you know, like, getting two groups of people that normally stay away from each other, they have animosity towards each other, they think that their worldviews are evil, right? To get these two people to go, you know what? Let's shake hands. We agree on this issue. Like, this one issue unites us. This person is an asshole. Like, to get that to happen is very difficult. It's very rare. So, this is one of the few cases, and they got their account banned. So what they tried to do to others was done to them. And it's funny because it's not about free speech anymore. You know, there used to be a time when people like myself and others were delusional and they were like, oh yes, well, we want free speech. And they didn't want free speech. They would say, well, free speech is fascist. Well, far from me from being a fascist. It's my team and your team now. And I'm sorry, but your team is losing. What can I do? You should have wanted free speech when it was on the table. I'm not going to, watch how people go around and they're using my principles against me. How they're trying to cancel everyone that disagrees with them. And then when they get canceled, it's like, V, where are you? I've been burned too many times. Like maybe if they at one point will come at the table and will be like, hey, can we stop persecuting each other? Like, well, let's have a conversation. But until then, until they're willing to have the conversation, I don't care. I just don't care. Because they wouldn't care if it happened to me. If tomorrow I get canceled, which one of them will? No one. So therefore, my team, their team. Anyway, right. I know that some of you may disagree with this line of thinking. Probably Short Fat Otaku as well. But it is what it is. This is how I think now. I've been radicalized. I'm a troll. But anyway, right, what's more interesting than the person getting their account canceled is how bad they are at the job. Like they are not fit for purpose. This is not like an engineer getting fired for saying edgy jokes on Twitter. No, this is like an engineer getting fired because the bridge is collapsing. What job do they have? They're a cultural consultant, yeah? So like they're making sure that your product is popular, right? Your product is inclusive, right? So it's popular with the minorities. And what are they criticizing? Dragon Ball. What is Dragon Ball? One of the most well-known, popular, famous shows around the world. As I mentioned before, very popular in Latin America, very popular with African Americans. And what do? They criticize it. It's like, I'm sorry, if you do that, you're shit at your job. I would never want you as a consultant. Given the fame and the popularity of what Dragon Ball is, every single frame, every single second, every single line of dialogue, every single depiction is absolutely perfect. There is no way to improve it. There is no way to make it better. It is pure, sublime perfection. If art is subjective, Dragon Ball is fucking objective. There is absolutely nothing to criticize. Given the objective performance of that show, given the fact that is translated in so many languages, given that you can go anywhere around the world and people like Dragon Ball, it is absolute perfection. Given that other anime that is also popular is inspiring from that, who the fuck do you think you are to criticize it? The moment you even suggest remotely that something was done poorly, you're not a good consultant. You're like Worm Tongue whispering into the ear of the King of Rohan. You don't do that. And not to mention, they talk about black characters and how they're depicted. Would you say the same about hip-hop? Like how hip-hop depicts African Americans? Is that charitable? So if it's not charitable and yet African Americans like hip-hop, maybe, just maybe in art, you don't have to portray everything charitably. Like, maybe things can be popular if they're not charitably portrayed. Did you ever think about that? Did you ever even consider that? It's interesting, like, one of the most popular American characters in Japanese media is that president that fights Raiden in Metal Gear Solid, Like, he's an evil guy. He's very uncharacteristically portrayed, and yet most Americans identify with him and think, oh, yeah, this is such a badass character. I love him. The same thing where, again, this is mind-fucking the left. Like, they don't understand it. Why do people like Homelander? Why do people like Soldier Boy? Why do people like these? Because they're uncharacteristically portrayed. They're bad characters, and yet they are popular. It's because they have flaws. It's because they're like human beings. That's why. Anyway, right. It is hilarious. Like, imagine... And the hubris is seen constantly. Like, you have companies that are like, okay, let's remake Resident Evil, or let's remake GTA, let's remake like a classic, a game that sold, has worldwide renown, and they think, well, it's not perfect. We need to remove stuff from it. They will never say, well, it's not perfect, maybe we can add a new feature. No. It's not perfect. Let's remove some jokes, let's remove some themes, let's remove some levels, let's remove this and that. It's this mentality, this level of arrogance, this level that shocks me and other gamers, and it's why we do not like consultants that behave like this. Imagine like thinking you're better than a genius. Like, I'm sorry, yes, Akira was a genius. Like, what he did what was so popular, so amazing, that I don't think I will ever be able to do something even remotely in my life. Like, I will never manage to do something so that the foreign minister of affairs in China will talk about me. How many American creators have that? Huh? Like how many American gender study experts have ministers from governments talk about them when they pass away? Because they made a cool movie or because they made a cool show or anything like that. Like, we're talking about cartoon for kids as when I grew up, that's what they were called, right? And to have like this person go around and it's like getting so many people being like, oh, my condolences, man. That just doesn't happen, right? So like thinking that this is the person that you're going to criticize, well, their work wasn't good enough. No, not good enough for me. Not good enough. Like, shut the fuck up. Who are you? You don't understand the market if that's what you're thinking. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.